So today's class we're going to focus on practices to find some stability in the chaos. And I just remembered I have this T-shirt. It says it's chaos, be kind. So what happens often when things are changing very rapidly, when there's a lot of unknown and when there's fear, is that we contract, we feel wobbly, we might be more irritable, we might feel anxious. And what really helps is to have a sort of certain sense of stability, structure, and certainty in our bodies, in the present moment, and also perhaps in our environment. A lot of my friends have been saying they've been tidying up, clearing out, cleaning up. They're all kind of nice activities to have a sense of, okay, this thing I can have some control over. This thing I have some power to do something. So that's the kind of the theme of the class. Changing the things that we can, accepting the things that we can't, and to develop the wisdom to know the difference. That's from the Serenity Prayer from 12-step programs. So hopefully the benefits that you'll have are to be able to help yourself, to be a bit calmer, to feel a bit more stable, if that's what you need. That will enable you to help others. You can also share the link to this video once it becomes available. And there's some little practices that you might be able to actually pass on yourself to loved ones. So you might want to do the video a few times. We did some of them on Tuesday. So simple things you can pass on yourself. And some of those things, those of you who are yoga teachers can obviously pass on for sure. And also, to kind of create a space where we can acknowledge our feelings. So I've been very busy, sort of positive, trying to do positive things. And then last night I was like, oh great, I've set it all up for tomorrow. And I went to the bathroom just to clean up for bed, and I just burst into tears. I don't know where it came from exactly, but I just suddenly really worried about loved ones dying. And I'm not logically worried about it because they're not necessarily at risk, but I just suddenly felt this surge of impending grief. So I just sat in the bathroom for 10 minutes and cried. So I think it's good sometimes to allow these things to come up and then have a way of kind of reassuring ourselves again that, okay, now what's next? And then I went to bed and actually slept really, really well. So I'll be touching on lots of different ways to enable us to do that, not to deny our feelings, but to take care of them in a skillful way. So if anything comes up in the class or in a meditation and you feel like that, you're in your own home, you can stop, you can make a cup of tea, you can just sit and listen or lie down on the floor and feel the support of the earth for a few moments. Because we're together and apart, you've got a lot more choice as into how you take part, what you take part in. And you have that choice in the yoga studio as well, but it always feels maybe a bit harder to opt out. Well, at home, you've got maybe a lot more self-permission to do what you need to do, to maybe leave early, arrive a bit late. It's not going to be a problem for anybody. Okay, so if you want to ask a question, you can unmute yourself, or you can do a big wave. Hopefully I'll see you. Or you can use the chat box. I'm just going to unmute you all just to see if anyone has a question. So any questions right now?
No.
No, it's great.
No, it's lovely. Thank you.
Great.
Right. So I'm going to...
Hello, Cora.
Cora.
Hello.
Hello.
Cora.
Hello, Cora.
Okay, so I've muted you again. It's lovely to say hello. At the end, I'll leave the room open for a bit as well, so you can have another chat. And we'll begin. So we'll start with a mini short sort of meditation, self-compassion meditation. Marianne just put in the chat box, lovely to see everyone, yay! So find a restful pose for yourself. Maybe you want to lie down or sit on the sofa for a minute. Just going to be a few minutes guided meditation. So once you're settled, first paying attention to your physical body. So how is your physical body right now? As I was saying, we might feel a little bit contracted in our bodies if there's a sense of anxiety, fear, fight or flight. So often the first way we can help ourselves with that is to notice that and consciously relax. So if we notice, holding my belly tight, we can take a deeper in-breath and relax our abdominal muscles. If we notice we're frowning a lot or clenching our fists, might be quite subtle, we can let that go. We might be able to relax and drop our shoulders a bit on an out breath. And as we go along, notice how these things might already begin to help a little bit if you arrived feeling a bit tense. Notice the difference that yoga is making, if it is making a positive difference. And then you might want to place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, to connect with a more subtle sense of yourself, the heart space, the gut. So a lot of the time, the last few days when I felt fear or worry for loved ones, it's been in the heart and my belly. So soothing those places with our hands, feeling the warmth of our own embrace. If you are alone at home, maybe you won't be hugging people for quite a long time, but you can hug yourself. And then noticing on an even deeper level what your emotional state is like right now. And whatever it is, you might feel really quite positive in this moment. You may not. Meet it with curiosity and kindness. As if you're saying hello to your feelings in the way that you would greet a friend. So now we know how we are and where we start from. And we can set an intention to really take care of ourselves during this class. With kindness and this sense of curiosity. How am I and how is the yoga helping me? So then if you've had your eyes closed, opening your eyes, I'm going to come up to standing. So if you need to have a little rearrange, please do. Excellent. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of kind of letting go, so we can arrive perhaps even more fully in our bodies and in the session. So you can begin by just kind of noticing your feet on the ground, maybe walk on the spot for a few moments, feeling the earth, feeling the support of the earth, because if we have good support, then we can kind of find it easier to let go. If we don't feel supported, it's hard to let go. So feeling the feet on the ground, maybe a few little gentle knee bounces to make a good footprint on the floor, as it were. And then you can do this next thing with your breathing if you wish. You could breathe out and lift your arm, breathe in and lift your arms, breathe out, letting them swing down. So very gentle kind of sense of letting go. Again, maybe with a little bounce, feeling the kind of elasticity of the body, which is a sense of resilience. Maybe we might be really stretched at the moment, but we can bounce back. And then if your back is okay, you could make this a bit stronger. You can go into the wood chopper pose, which is also lovely for our breathing. If you have back issues, I recommend staying with this first one. If it feels okay, you can go to wood chopper. So it's the one where we interlace our fingers. We can spread our feet. I know you can't see my feet right now, but they're just wide on the mat, maybe just on the edges of your mat. And then we can breathe in, take a deep breath in and breathe out, going forwards as if chopping wood. And again, maybe with a sense of letting go as you go down. Maybe letting go a little bit if you feel pissed off with this virus, sense of, you can make some noise if you want to, because you're all on mute and you're at home, so you can be as loud as you like. Excellent. Good. And then coming back to standing, mountain pose, sense of your feet. And then we can reflect just for a second. Is there anything we would like to let go of just now for the duration of the session? Or maybe we've been very much in the future trying to figure things out, planning, stockpiling, whatever it is, organizing, reorganizing, restructuring our lives. So maybe it's just letting go of that, letting go of everything that's going on outside right now. So we can go into a forward bend. Again, you can do a small half one like this if you've got back issues, or you can go fully into the standing forward bend, Uttanasana. And as you exhale, you can really let go of whatever it is you would like to let go of for the next remaining 45 minutes of the session. You might like to take a really deep breath in as well to feel your breath in the upper back, in the back of your lungs. And as you breathe out, just letting go of whatever you need to let go of just now. Imagine you're breathing it out, putting it onto the earth. And then when you're ready, coming back up to standing. Coming to mountain pose. Again. And usually in yoga we stand in mountain pose with our feet about hip width apart or together in the Iyengar tradition. If it makes you feel a bit more like a mountain to take your feet wider, please do. I'd like us to visualize a mountain, like, classic mountain, maybe a mountain you've been on or been to and seen, maybe one that you'd love to climb if you could. So picturing a mountain in your head, or you can have a felt sense of the embodiment of a mountain, solid, the tons of rock settled onto the earth. Soften your knees so you've got perhaps that sense of your center of gravity going down to the earth. And imagine your head going up into the clouds. You can close your eyes if it helps you to then really get the felt sense of this and the imagination of the image of a mountain. Or keep your gaze down towards the earth, which is also made of rock. We'll do a mini meditation from Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. I'd like you to be aware of your breathing. So as you breathe in, you know you're breathing in. As you breathe out, you know you're breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Mountain, solid. For the next few breaths, as you breathe in, silently or whisper or say out loud the word mountain. As you breathe out, say solid. And this is a quality that might be very helpful over the coming days and weeks, to be solid for other people, to be able to be still, to be able to be grounded, as in steady. And then we also don't want to get stuck in there and get kind of unable to move. So we'll have a little shake off of that. So it's always a really good way to change our state and let go of tension, is to just have a little shake. Good. Then coming back to normal mountain pose, or your version of Tadasana, whatever that is, however you like to place your feet. And it's spring out there. Spring has really sprung. I've got some daffodils here next to me. So I'd now like us to imagine we're a bit like a flower, a bluebell or tulip coming up and growing towards the light, stretching one arm up, imagining your hand is a flower bud opening towards the light. You can wriggle your fingers a bit, so I'll just show you from a different angle. Wriggle your fingers, lengthen up, going from side to side, stretching your sides, opening up your side ribs, really good for the breath and the lungs. Perhaps imagine your side ribs are a bit like Venetian blinds that you're opening up to the spring sunlight. Keeping your knees soft will help you to keep your lower back relaxed. Lovely. Great. And then coming back to mountain pose. And then taking one arm up, you could place your hand on your shoulder or take the arm over. And can just stretch your side a little bit there. You could rub your side ribs with your hand. Take a couple of deep breaths in. Breathing out fully will enable your in-breath to feel easily deep. Flow in. And a couple of breaths on the other side as well. Soft knees, hips kind of going down, and arm, shoulder going up. And then coming back to mountain pose. And then we're going to bring our hands into the lotus flower gesture. So it's kind of a really soft version of Namaste, or the Anjali Mudra, which people use to greet each other. Quite a few people doing that now with bows. I saw Prince Charles doing it. He kept forgetting that he wasn't supposed to shake people's hands and go, oh, okay, I'll bow then. So it's a little bit of space between the hands like this, and then relaxing your elbows down. So it's held very softly at the heart. Very nice. And as many of you will know, the lotus is a symbol for wisdom, for compassion in the Eastern traditions. So we're going to open our lotus flower, our flower of wisdom from the heart. It's also associated with the heart, often used as a symbol for the chakras, the heart chakras. So we can open it up again like a flower opening to the sun. And holding it in such a way that feels comfortable and your hands and wrists are at ease. And then visualize an opening flower. You can go for the lotus. Looks a bit like a water lily if you're not sure what a lotus looks like. Or any flower that you like, any color that you like. It might be a white rose or anything. Again, you could close your eyes if that helps you to imagine. And then you can imagine that you can take this flower, you can actually make a little movement for a moment. You can take this flower to the crown of your head. You can take your hands back to the heart, it's easier to hold there. But a sense that the crown of your head is like a flower opening and your feet are still like roots to the ground. So like a flower rooted as well as growing to the light. If you can imagine being a bit like a flower in your body. And then the next mini meditation is breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Flower, fresh. Repeating flower and fresh on your in-breath and out-breath a few times as you imagine embodying a fresh spring flower. And then you can gently close your fingers again. Bring your hands back to your heart. We can have a little bow to each other, sort of acknowledging we're all here practicing together, that we are separately in our homes, but we are practicing together. And then we can relax our arms down and again have a little bit of a shake off, shaking your arms, shaking your booty, as they would say in America. Excellent. Then coming back to Tadasana, attentive standing. And the next movement is also actually from Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master. It's called touching the earth, touching the sky. So most of us, I think, are still okay to go outside in the fresh air, which is going to be such a great resource. Also an opportunity to see people, have a chat at a distance. So I've done that a lot this week. It's been really great. So we can imagine now that we can touch the sky by stretching up, maybe coming onto tiptoes a little bit. And then we can touch the earth. If you've got a bad back or knee issues, you might not go all the way down. You could go to a squat, or you could go into a bit of a forward bend. Or you can just take your gaze to the ground, touching the earth with your eyes. Touching the sky with your intention, with your movement, as if you could touch the sky, and then touching the earth, maybe actually touching it, maybe again with intention and gaze. Feeling this opening up and then coming back to the groundedness, earthiness. Again, both things that we might be losing a bit with all this stuff going on. We might feel less grounded. We might also feel less open. I've actually seen a lot of openness and care from people, but I know there's also people that are so scared that they've lost the ability to care that somebody else isn't going to have loo roll because they've bought it all. So that they're all natural responses to fear. So see if we can open up a bit, feel a sense of heart opening from a place of stability as well. Keep coming back to earth, to stability. From there, we can open up. That's great. And looking after your body. Stop when you need to. Make the movement smaller if they're aggravating any discomfort in your body. Then we can start to make those movements smaller anyway. So still the same intention of going up and going back down, making it smaller and smaller and kind of softer. And you can start to connect to your breathing as well, if it works for you, if the pace works for you. So breathing in, taking the hands up, breathing out, taking the hands down. And then if it works for you, you can, if you've got the gallery view on, or you might only see me, you can see if it's okay to go at the same sort of pace and rhythm that I am and other people are. So moving at the same time, doing things together even though we're in different places, going to stimulate our sense of togetherness in our brain, in our bodies, in our nervous system. It's like being in a choir. I know quite a few of you are in choirs. Really, really good for this sense of connection. When we do things together, breathe at the same time, chant, sing, move at the same time, our mirror neurons get activated. And they are kind of part of our empathy system, our ability to relate to someone else on a deep level. It's wonderful. And then we can enjoy that for a couple more breaths. And we can, on the next out breath, allow our hands to relax down by our side. Finding stillness in mountain pose again. And we're going to go to the next mini meditation. For this one, I'd like you to imagine, visualize still water, water like a body of water that's so still that it's reflecting perfectly the sky and whatever is around it. You might like to imagine an alpine lake or your local pond with trees around it, or the sea. Whatever works for you. Very, very still, reflective water with a perfect reflection of whatever is around it and above it. And as we stand still, as we stop, maybe a sense that our body begins to reflect that kind of stillness too. And maybe that the 70% water that we are is steadying and becoming quieter inside our bodies. So perhaps we can have a felt sense of being like still water. Feeling our breathing just very gently moving our watery bodies. And then the phrases are: breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. Still water, reflecting. Breathing in, still water. Breathing out, reflecting. Noticing again how you're feeling, how this practice might be changing how you are. And then opening your eyes again, looking back at the screen if you've had your eyes closed, or kind of turning inwards, coming back to the screen, kind of having a little wriggle, letting your water start to move again. So we're never static for long, we're never completely still. Everything is always changing, but we can kind of find some stillness within that. And the next movement we're doing is, again, a little bit more about opening up. But from a place where we feel steady and stable, we could say centered. So centered, centering might be synonymous for a kind of sense of being here, being present, not flapping, not being all over the place, being with ourselves, with whatever's happening around us in a way that's steady. So the next movement we'll do, gives us a nod to that. So we'll bring the backs of our hands together, or almost together, in front of the center of the belly. And then again, you can coordinate with your breathing, or you can harmonize with me if that works for you, with or without following your breath. Obviously, keep breathing. And breathing in, up past the midline of the body, breathing out, coming down, just making sure I don't knock anything over. So breathing in, breathing out. So aware of our center. If you're into the chakras, the line of chakras there inside the midline of the body. Sense of gently opening and then coming back down to earth as well. From that centered place. In, out. And being aware of spreading out into space around you as you do this. So move myself a bit so I've got a bit more room to do that. Taking up space, spreading out, because we might already feel a bit confined, some of us. We might be more confined by next week. Notice how your body can still spread out and take up space. Notice how your breathing might have deepened. Wonderful. And then when you next bring your arms down, relax them by your side. And do a posture where we take up a bit more space. So find a comfortable way with that. You might go sideways on your mat. Just tip my screen down a bit so you can see. You can spread your toes out. You can soften your knees. So just find a comfortable wide stride or stance. And then something similar with your arms. So comfortable. Maybe your hands a bit lower than shoulder width. Maybe it feels really good to go into full sort of taking up space pose. As long as you can hold it for a few breaths, you can always go in and out of it as well, of course. The sense that you're expanding out. You can open your eyes as well and be aware of the space around you, above you. On my screen behind me, I can see the sky. You know, the sky is there. I know the universe is there. The whole cosmos is out there. Most of it carrying on completely normal. We can perhaps bring an image of space to mind. Maybe you've seen the night sky in a place with no light pollution, a sense of how huge the universe is and how small we really are in relation to that. And all of that is just carrying on as normal. All this space is still there. And perhaps we can have a sense of space in our bodies, a space around us, a felt sense of being spacious. And then the mini meditation is breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. In, space. Out, free. And then we can let that go and have a bit of free movement. Maybe you feel like having a little jump, maybe a little silliness, a bit of kitchen dancing in my case, because I am in the kitchen. And just letting your body have a wriggle, sense of freedom to move. Wonderful. Good. Excellent. So we'll soon be going to a little bit of a relaxation. I'm going to unmute you again just to see how you are. How is everyone? You could do a thumbs up as well if you feel a bit better, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Great. So it's really nice to check in with each other every now and again in the session as well. So take a couple of minutes. Maybe you're already set up, but you might need a couple of minutes to get yourself settled for a relaxing meditation. We're going to revisit some of these images and qualities that we've been doing the mini meditations with. And you might want to lie down. You might want to sort of spread out. If your house is nice and warm, you could do a starfish spread out. You might want to curl up on the sofa. Tuesday night, people were curling up with their pets. Small children might be around to cuddle. So bye, Andy, nice to see you. Some people have to go a bit early. So yeah, you can take in the relaxation later when I send the recording link. So getting settled, as always with relaxation, make sure you're comfortable, warm. Good. And sometimes when I do relaxation at home, I kind of lie down and think, oh, floor's a bit dirty or something. So see if you can let that go. Like if the circumstances are not perfect, you can breathe out and perhaps encourage yourself to let go of any need for things to be perfect. The relaxation skill is to be able to relax wherever we are. I sometimes tell the story of sort of getting really nicely settled for a relaxation at home here, actually, where I am now. And right at the moment where I had everything perfect, my blanket, my bolster, everything, as someone started to drill open the road right next to the house. But at that point, I was already quite relaxed and I just sort of carried on. And I actually fell asleep with this tremendous noise going on. So I really surprised myself, but it can be done. So you might begin with a more subtle letting go by really feeling how your body is supported wherever you are, whichever pose you've chosen. You might be reclining on your bed. You might be in your armchair. You might be on your yoga mat on the kitchen floor like me. It's a bit Cinderella, isn't it? I might start calling this Cinderella yoga. And then again, feeling how solid the support is. Maybe it's a soft sofa, but there's a structure that keeps that together. And that structure is on the ground, the floor of your house, which has foundations which go down to the earth. So any given moment, we can really connect our mind to whatever's around us that's supportive, that has some sense of structure, solidity, predictability. And then our breath is predictable. It's coming and going. And on the out breath, we can encourage, we can invite our body to let go a little bit more of the need to support itself, because it's now supported by the ground or the furniture. Your bones can meet the bones of the support underneath you, as it were. And all the soft parts of your body can then let go. Letting the soft parts of your body go. Letting your belly soften and expand on your in-breaths. Letting your upper chest, shoulders soften on the out-breath. Perhaps your out-breath quite naturally slows down a little. You know you're breathing in, you know you're breathing out. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Mountain, solid. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Flower, fresh. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect all that is. Still water, reflecting. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Space, free. And then spend a few moments with the quality that you most would like right now. Solid as a mountain, fresh as a flower, still like water reflecting, or free as space. Imagine your body being infused with that quality as you breathe. And then letting that go and feeling your body as you are now, sitting or lying in your home, your friend's home, your relative's home. Sensing your surroundings. What can you hear? What can you feel? Maybe what can you smell? Can you hear birds? I can hear birds. Some of you live quite close to me. We might be hearing the same birds. And we can finish with a simple gratitude practice. Saying thank you to some aspect of your being right now that feels well. Maybe you feel 1% better than when you came to the session. Maybe you're pleased that you're breathing well. Maybe you can be grateful that your eyes work. You're well enough to take part. That the technology worked. Just one or a few more if you like. One or more things that are pleasing right now, that are not wrong, that are fine. And stay with that for a few more seconds. And then take a few deeper breaths in, maybe wriggling your fingers, your toes. Yawn or stretch, or stroke the cat. Coming gently back to being a bit more in touch with your surroundings, perhaps the screen. We finished with a little bit of simple gratitude, and it's always good to practice that, particularly in difficult times, to notice all the things that are not wrong. And if we can feel grateful for something, or just a simple appreciation, it's helpful to notice that in our bodies if we can. So notice a smile, or notice a sense of contentment, or whatever it is in our heart, our gut, on our face, because that brings a lot of positive kind of activity into the nervous system. And some of the kind of stress reducing hormones will be elevated, because we're probably getting a lot of the adrenaline type ones at the moment. So a few key things there, hopefully you can use to calm yourself down, things you can maybe share with loved ones, like the gratitude practice. You can share with friends. I've been messaging friends at night, saying good night, maybe sharing something you're grateful for with a friend or a family member, using all this wonderful modern technology and communication to share positive things is going to be super helpful. And the more we can feel it in our bodies, the more it will benefit our whole well-being. So next things coming up. So I've published a schedule for next week with more classes, including early morning meditation, storytelling evening, sort of normal classes a bit like this one. Feel free to share them as widely as you like. After Easter, I might put on some small sort of paid for group classes as well as these bigger ones. So as we settle into our retreat, our Corona retreat, there'll be lots on offer. So I'm going to unmute you now, and Bram is saying goodbye, Val is saying goodbye in the chat. Someone came from Finland who said he was really pleased to join us. Nick, who's in Finland. I'm not sure if I know Nick, but really nice to do that. So share, if you've got friends abroad, anybody can come. I can have quite a few people on these calls if necessary. So yeah, I'm going to unmute you all in case you want to say anything. It might be a bit of a cacophony, but that's okay.
Hello.
Enjoyed it.
Hi Laura.
Thank you, Cara.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wonderful.